Hello, my name is John Brink and we are podcasting on the Brink from downtown Prince George, the capital of northern British Columbia. An absolute fabulous day, beautiful sunny spring day, and it's going to be a beautiful summer. For those people that are planning on holidays and coming to Canada is certainly the right place to go. And then don't forget, BC is the most beautiful province in Canada, and northern BC, very, very special, very much nature around here, lakes all over us. I have a special guest today. Her name is Lina Hiller. Welcome to the show, Lina.
Thank you so much for having me.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. Were you born here?
Yep.
In Prince George?
Yep.
And did you go to school here?
Yeah, I graduated high school in 2015.
Okay.
And then shortly after that, I moved to Calgary.
Then you moved to Calgary. Mm-hmm. and what did you do in Calgary? Did you go to school there? Or?
Yep. Yeah, I went to university and I just graduated this past fall with a Bachelor of Science in Kinesiology.
Wow. And geology?
Kinesiology.
What is that?
It's kind of like how the body moves in sport, especially.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that do from a professional perspective? Does that make you?
You can be a kinesiologist outside of that and working in like high performance sport or in like a physio kind of setting.
Okay.
But I would like to do occupational therapy afterwards, so do a 2 years master's in that. Mm-hmm.
And then you would be associated with a hospital or?
Yeah, we can be hospital or in private settings as well.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting profession. And do they have that in, did you get a how did you call that, sports-related grant to go to Calgary? Or was that course only offered there?
I'm not sure where else Kinesis offered, but I also moved there for speed skating, and so it made sense to do university at the same time as I was skating there.
So now all of a sudden we touched on speed skating.
Yeah.
Because you are amazing in terms of being a speed skating.
Thank you.
Not in terms of being very good in Prince George or BC or Alberta or in Canada. You at a world champion level, a world competition level.
Yeah.
How did you get involved in it?
I was 4, and well, back up a little bit. My mom, being a geologist, she was working in South America back in the 80s, and she saw the '88 Olympics on TV and just thought,
where was it then?
In Calgary.
Oh yeah,
mm-hmm.
right.
And then she thought, well, maybe one day, like 5 kids, like she thought it was a beautiful sport, thought it looked really cool, and then, she met my dad, and he's from Prince George. He convinced her to move to Prince George, and then when she had us kids, she wanted to put us in a sport.
Your dad is from Prince George?
From Prince George, yep.
Yeah.
And
is he a speed skater?
No, he's not, no. And so, she wanted to put us in a sport, and we were young, and she thought, oh, speed skating, like she remembered watching it at the '88 Olympics.
How many siblings do you have?
I have a twin brother and an older brother.
Okay, what's his name, the twin brother?
Nico.
And the older one?
Lucas.
And they are all here as well?
Yeah, well, Nico lives with me in Calgary. He's moving back just this coming weekend, actually, but Lucas lives here,
Are they into sport skating?
We did speed skating our whole lives together. My mom would take us to every single competition that she could, and we did it as a family, really. And then Lucas decided to stop skating when he graduated high school, and then Nico moved with me to Calgary and skated with me.
So he is there still now too?
Yeah, but he stopped skating 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you have progressed quite quickly, and very recently you competed for Canada and the World Championship in Heerenveen.
Yeah.
how I can say that.
I can't say it.
Yeah, because I was born in Groningen.
Yeah, okay.
And you were in, if Holland is here, Holland, as you well know, relatively small.
Yeah.
The top north part of Holland is Groningen, Friesland.
Okay.
And you were in Friesland.
I was in Friesland, yeah.
And Heerenveen is right in a fairly large city. Actually, Leeuwarden is the capital of, you know, so I'm very familiar with it because, you know, I was born there, and I was there till I was 24.
Wow.
And then I came to Prince George.
Did you skate at all when you were there?
Did I skate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. And I was in my own little world, nothing compared to you. I was also a champion in my own little world when I was between 12 and 16. I loved skating, I loved speed skating, but this was on this different schools competing together.
Right, it's very different there than it is here in Canada. I feel like everyone skates there,
Yeah, I grew up on skates, and we had skating rinks, and our canals in Holland would freeze up. My birthday is November the 1st.
Okay.
And so, so when I was in the 50s, you know, when I was growing up and I was 10 years old after the war, you know, we would skate already on my birthday.
Wow.
Now it seldom freezes there.
It doesn't freeze anymore, the canals, right?
No.
Because they used to have a race, right? That was skating through all the
11 city race.
Yeah.
I did that once.
Wow. And they don't do it anymore, right? It doesn't freeze over enough.
Yeah, because there is not enough funds, but it was an annual event, and it would go, it was grueling for distance, you know, and then, but we were very much, you know, so my sports were, I played soccer growing up, speed skating, and then judo, and those are the things that I did, and
awesome.
you know, and I thought I was a pretty good skater.
I'm sure you were great.
So you know what kind of skates we had then?
They weren't clap skates. They didn't, how our speed skates, they are only connected from the top.
Okay.
And then as you push to the side, they kind of clap and open.
Okay.
But yours were fixed, I'm sure. The blade didn't move off of the off of the boot. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, so it was quite different then.
Yeah.
You know, so what I did is I brought something for you.
What? Oh, are these wooden skate?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh, I got it stuck.
Yeah.
Wow. And then these would just tie to your shoes, your boots?
Those were my skates.
Yeah.
You can have them.
No.
Yeah.
You're joking. Are you sure?
Yeah.
This is incredible.
So,
wow.
So you're very familiar with them, right? So, you know, those are the skates that we had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, that's too much.
And I thought, you know, that was pretty good, right? And then obviously later on, they got the other ones. But when I was between 12 and 16, that's what I used, yeah.
These are incredible.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah.
I always wondered how you could skate on these.
Yeah.
Like, they just tie onto your boot?
Yeah, they do, you know. So
top?
I got them all tied together here. Yeah. But then you put your foot in there, and this one ties up, and then you strap them together, and your heel goes there.
Wow.
And then, so those are the skates, and it worked fine, right?
These are incredible.
So that's how you know, skate.
That's just how you did
Never
it,
thought about it.
Did you sharpen these at all? Would you guys sharpen them?
No, they did it there. You know, so we would go to the skating ring, and they did it right there.
Yeah.
They had this big machine, or this big block, and they hold them against there just to get the angle.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was it.
Wow.
Yeah, and so everybody had skates like that.
Yep.
That's what we had.
Yep.
You know, and you know, so I thought it'd be interesting for you to have them.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much. This means a lot. These are incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, tell me, you can take the box with it too, you know, so the, but,
oh, yeah.
You know, yeah. So tell me a little bit more about, so there you were selected to go, the competition is in Calgary to qualify for the Canadian team that goes for the World Championships?
Yeah, usually it's in Calgary. This year we had it in Quebec, actually, in Quebec City.
Okay.
They just got a brand new oval.
Yeah, quite
it was
nice.
built 2 years ago, I believe. It's beautiful.
It's covered, right?
It's covered, yeah. So it's our third covered oval in Canada, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And so we had our national competition there. That was at the beginning of October.
Now, in what distances? I believe your World Championship is in the 500, or
it's in the team sprint.
Okay. This team sprint meaning.
It's like an event where you have three teammates that are skating with you.
Yeah.
And you all start together. It's 3 laps, and each person leads 1 lap.
Okay.
So you start with 3 people. After 1 lap, the first person pulls off, and then there's 2 people left.
So do they give something over to the other person?
No, we're all just together skating. So we all skate the first 3 laps, and then the first person just pulls off to the side.
Okay.
And then there's 2 people left, and they do the next lap, and then the second person pulls off, and then 1 person, like last man standing, they're left for the last lap.
Okay. So does it make a difference what lap you do? Are they selected?
It does. Yeah. We talk with our coaches, and we kind of decide what the best order will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole objective is that the 3 of you together will be.
We'll have the fastest time.
Fastest time. And so you guys won the 1500.
We won the team sprint. Yeah.
Yeah, the team sprint. And are there other distances they do at the same time as well?
For team events, there's a team pursuit as well, and then that is where 3 people on the same team skate.
Were you involved in that as well?
No, I just did the team sprint, and then my individual distance was the 500.
Yeah. So how did you do on all of those?
I did good at I came 12th overall in the 500.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, pretty good for my first time at World Championships.
I would say. Yeah.
And then obviously winning the team sprint, like becoming world champion in that was incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So lots of Dutch people involved in skating, eh?
They love their speed skating. It's their sport.
They go crazy about it, right?
They do.
Nationally, it's a very, very popular sport, and they are very good at it now.
So good.
You know, I'm so proud that we have you from Prince George being successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
they are so good, and being able to have world champs in the Netherlands was like a whole nother level, I think.
Had you been there before?
I had been there in the fall for the second World Cup.
Okay.
So that was great, but then World Champs was like a whole different level. Like it was sold, like the competition was sold out like weeks in advance. Like it was hard for people to get tickets to go.
Yeah.
I think there was like 12,000 people there. The stands were full, like all orange, everyone wearing their orange to support the Dutch.
Oh yeah.
But they also love the Canadians too, so they were cheering us on as well.
Yeah. Canadians extremely popular, right? Because they liberated us.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually, it's a special day. That tomorrow is May the 5th, and that is the National Liberation Day in Holland.
Oh, no way!
Yeah.
Wow.
That like November the 11th is here.
Yep.
Yeah. So in Holland is May the 5th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So and where everybody remembers, you know, the liberation, and especially with the involvement of Canadians.
Yeah.
You know, I still remember as a kid. I was born in 1940, so I was nearly 5 years old when we were liberated, April the 12th, 1945, by the Canadians.
Wow. Well, they sure supported us a lot when we were there.
Oh yeah.
When we won, they were just all cheering and so happy for us, and it was so sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. The Canadians are extremely important. Yeah, even to the little kids, you know, they all know about it in the schools. And tomorrow is a big, big day in Holland for that.
Wow.
You know, so it was actually when I was 5 years old, I always knew I would go to Canada.
You always wanted to come, yeah.
Oh yeah, because I was so impressed with our heroes, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so to me, till I was 24 before I could go. I wanted to go when I was 17, but my parents wouldn't let me, and then I was drafted into the Dutch Air Force, and then worked on the lumber industry there, and then finally I decided to go when I was 24.
Okay.
And then arrived here
To Prince George?
In Prince George.
Wow.
Well, initially I flew into, I wanted to start right from the ground up. I took $150, one suitcase, 3 books, one set of clothes, and then I had one dream, is to go to Canada. The other dream was to build my own lumber mill. But I wanted to start out with nothing.
Yeah.
Couldn't speak the language, didn't know a soul, didn't have a job.
Wow.
And then, you know, I knew I had to go to British Columbia. And so I arrived in Montreal by plane and then took the train across Canada. That's slow. I was not, you been in the trains in Holland? They are very fast.
Very fast.
Yeah. So here I thought, oh my God, you know, I can just walk alongside it. No, not quite. But I had probably a lot of anxiety because I didn't know. I knew I wanted to go to British Columbia.
Yeah.
So I arrived in July of 1965 in Vancouver. Went to the immigration office. Fortunately, there was couldn't speak the language, so there was a German fellow, and I could explain to him what I wanted to do. I wanted to build my own lumber mill and, you know, and start from the bottom. He said, Prince George, 1965. That's when Prince George was still a boom town. You know, it became, although your parents or your mom was here already, I think, then, or your dad.
My dad was, yep.
Yeah, and you know, then it was very few people were born here, really, and it was always a question of when did you come here and when are you leaving? Obviously, a lot has changed since.
Right.
And but when I came off the bus here, a couple of blocks away from here, I had in my pocket I had $25.47.
Wow.
And no job. And then underneath it I wrote, the foundation is very important to you. Obviously you are an example of this. Attitude, passion, work ethic, but follows this success. And so, and you know, and then gradually I started, you know, clean up my lumber piling as so many others have done, and then gradually build up to owning a lumber mill and doing all those other kinds of things.
That's incredible.
But there is no country like Canada.
No.
And no place like BC, right? So it's, you know, every time I fly a lot, and I'm sure you do too. Every time I fly, I look outside and I say it's paradise. It simply doesn't get any better.
No, it's beautiful.
And especially if you compare to all the problems that are going on around the world, we are so lucky and so fortunate. Right?
Yeah, we are. I would love to move back to BC eventually.
Yeah, but still, Alberta is, you know, I used to have a lumber mill north of in Crossfield in Alberta, you know, and yeah, it's a beautiful province as well. You know, lots of opportunity.
Definitely.
So, how much longer do you go to school before you got your degree?
I'm done now.
You're done now?
Yeah.
So now you're going to stay involved in your skating career in a sense?
Yeah, yep.
So what is the next thing that follows now?
I mean, the Olympics are
You're part
3
of
years.
the Canadian team, right?
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm training out of Calgary, and our main focus now will be like the Olympics in 3 years. I would love to be able to go and represent my country.
Where is that again?
They're in Italy.
Oh, you like that?
That'd be so cool.
Is it in Rome or where is it?
Milano? I don't quite remember. But yeah, I would love to go. That would be an incredible experience and to represent
3 years from now. That's pretty, man. That's where they're starting to already start training and selecting, right? For
speed skating is a bit different. We don't select our team until pretty much right beforehand.
Okay.
So usually it's the beginning of January, right beforehand.
Okay.
So we have a little bit of time, 2 years or 3 years pretty much to prepare for that. Yeah.
So how active is your training schedule? Are you physical? You know, I'm, you know, quite a bit into bodybuilding and physique. You know, as many other people have, you know, like up to the time of 2008, I was already 68 years old or so, and then all of a sudden I got a thing that kind of got a scare that I got diverticulitis, where there's a rupture of your colon.
Oh no!
That and that nearly killed me. Came that close, but it gave me a jolt that I had to become more serious about my physical health, and go to be careful about diets and all of those things.
Yeah.
So I started then the following year in 2009. I started to go to the gym. For me, I need to have somebody with me training me, because it has to become an appointment. Otherwise, I can find 100 reasons that I can't go to the gym. So it became then a routine, and I became serious about it. And after doing that, was a trainer for probably 5-6 years or so, and 7 years. Then somebody said at one point, I was probably 75 then or so, said to me, "Have you ever thought about competing?" I said, "Me?" And he said, "Well, yeah." And I started thinking about talking to my trainer about it. I said, "Yeah, well, why not?" Gives me a goal to work towards.
Yeah, definitely.
And I did that then, and then competed bodybuilding in physique, and and competed here in northern BC. Came in second in bodybuilding, third in physique, which qualified me for the provincials, where I came in third and second physique and bodybuilding, which qualified me for the nationals and the Arnolds. And by then I was already into my 70s, well into my 70s, and and then kept training, and then obviously COVID happened, and then I started training again a year ago, a little more than a year ago, again with Kendall Gershard. You probably don't know her, but she's very, very good. And actually, she competed with me in Vancouver. She was about 17, and I was by far the oldest. So we supported her, our team, and her family to compete together in Vancouver. And she came in for the nationals together with me. But she is also now my trainer. She is very, very good at what she does. And again, training for competing again for hopefully the provincials, then the nationals, and then again the Arnolds.
Cool, awesome.
By 24.
Yeah.
And by then I'm 84.
Yeah.
Which makes me the oldest competitive bodybuilder in North America.
No way.
Yeah.
Congrats. That's incredible.
Good
for you.
But the other thing that it does, and you know that so well, is that you have to be fit. And then you have to be aware of diet. And for me, it's more being mentally and physically fit. And, that's what makes me go to the gym. And the other part, competing on those kind of levels. The class that I'm competing is 55 and older, so I could be their father of most of the guys that are competing. But I still came in second and third.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it makes the case that that fitness and health and fitness is critically important. Right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Now, that then being said, do you stay active in terms of diet and and physical fitness and going to the gym?
It's huge. Yeah, definitely. We're pretty much, I'm in my short off season right now.
Yeah. What does that mean?
So we have no training pretty much.
Yeah.
My season ended middle of March.
Yeah.
And so I've been on my off season from then. And then we start training again this coming Monday.
Yeah. In Calgary.
In Calgary, yeah. And then after that, like I'm with you, like I feel like I need a strict program and I need someone to tell me where to be and when to be, or else like it's hard for me to convince myself to go do something.
Yeah.
I love having that structure.
Yeah.
And so our coaches write our programs weekly, and we get a weekly program.
Yeah.
We're usually in the weight room twice a week.
Yeah.
Especially in the summer, we do a lot more aerobic training.
Yeah.
So we're biking outside. We're running, it's called dry land, so we're kind of mimicking speed skating but on land.
Right.
We do a lot of that.
Very structured.
Very structured, yeah. All of our programs are structured. There's a nutritionist that we have that we can reach out to have a specific like nutrition program if we'd like. It's all available to us, which I'm really grateful for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diet?
Yep, diet is super important. Yep. So the nutritionist will help us and they'll give us tips and tricks of how to, like what kind of foods we should be eating, how much protein we should be eating. I could definitely be better at that sometimes, but I try to stick to it as best as I can.
Yeah, like my wife, she is a vegan. I call myself 80-20.
Yeah.
So, and although, you know, I don't do red meat, I just don't, it's not part of my diet, but mainly chicken, fish maybe, and so I'm trying to be very disciplined.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of what I eat.
Yeah.
And then as it gets closer to competition, then it becomes a much more structured in terms of making sure that, you know, that you look the right way. Now in your case, in particular, what I remember of me is skating. You know, because I grew up on a bike, as you well know from Holland.
Yeah, everyone bikes everywhere.
So I have very strong legs and always did, you know, so I was a good skater. So you have to be fit, your whole body has to be fit. But in particular, do you focus on areas that for your particular competition is critical? Is it your legs more or?
Definitely more lower body and core, I would say.
Yeah.
We probably do upper body a little bit, like once a week, but mostly lower body.
Lower body, yeah. Yeah.
That's where all of our power comes from. And so,
yeah.
And then on the sprint side, since I'm more of a sprinter, we do a lot of like track sprints as well, and like more interval training as well to get like the foot speed and the fast twitch muscles going.
Right. Yeah. So, you know, then 3 years is not all that far away, really.
It'll come quick, yeah.
That come in the meantime. There'll be more world championships in between. So you're going to be traveling a lot. Yeah.
So they'll have our World Cup, like our nationals, will be in October again next year. Or this year, I guess, in Calgary.
This year, October. You know where?
They're in Calgary.
Okay.
Yeah, and so
that's good.
Yeah, it's good. I get to stay home this time. And that's where the team is decided. So they pretty much will take like the top 3 in each distance for the most part, and then that will be the team that travels to the Fall World Cups. And then there's another trials in January, and then that will decide the team that travels to the Winter World Cups and World Champs.
Wow. And
so
that's
a lot of
where?
Racing. I think the second one in January is in Quebec.
Quebec. And then the next one, the winter one, the world champion is?
That's in Calgary World Champs.
Oh,
so that'll be really nice to stay.
Also good. And so the whole team is kind of managed out of Calgary?
Calgary and Quebec.
And Quebec.
Yeah, since they have their oval, they have half of our team is pretty much there in Quebec, and then half is in Calgary.
So how does it work from a funding perspective? Do you get funding because, you know, what I'm hearing is a lot of commitment, a lot of travel expense and all of that, right?
So kind of a long story, but at the end of 2020, is it 2021, I lost my karting. So we do get funding from the government. If you're on the national team, you have to qualify like certain time standards of your races. And you can qualify for funding, and then from the government they give Speed Skate Canada money, and then we get funding from there. But I hadn't been performing, and so I didn't reach the time standards, and so I lost my karting. I lost my spot.
How do you call that, karting?
Yeah, so karting is like our funding. I can just call it funding too to make it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know,
so that's like a monthly allowance that we kind of get from the government.
Okay. But you're back on that now.
Kind of. So I lost it, and I lost my spot on the team, so I wasn't on the national team anymore. So this was at the end of 2022. I wasn't being invited back, or at the end of March 2022, I wasn't being invited back to the program, and so I stayed with there's like another program that's below the national team in Calgary, called the Oval program. So I was invited into that program, and there's an incredible sprint coach there. His name is Kevin, and he used to coach the national team, and he coached the 500-meter world record holder named Sang-Hwa, and so he's an incredible sprint coach, and so I got to work with him this past year.
Amazing.
And yeah, so with
lucky
him,
in a way, right?
It worked out. It really worked out for the better.
Yeah, because that brought you the coaching.
It brought me to him.
Extremely important, right? Yeah.
And coaching is huge in speed skating. Like if you have a good technical coach, like it's incredible.
Yeah.
And so he took me under his wing. I was able to train with him. And then in October, I became the national champion in the 500. I was able to travel for the World Cups.
Yeah.
And then in this January, they said based on my performances, I was able to get my carding back, my funding back. So since January, I've had my funding back.
Yeah.
And then right now, funding is up in the air because I would like to stay with my coach. Nothing to do with the national team program. I just feel like I work really well with him, and so I want to stay where I am.
Right?
Yeah. And so I want to stay with him, and so we're unsure how carding will work at this time right now, if I'll be able to keep my carding or not. And so getting sponsorships are huge now for me, trying to get that.
So are you getting sponsorship?
I'm in the process of it now. I feel like I've been very quiet and like under the radar for a long time, and I'm trying to get myself out there and tell people what I'm like.
That's what we're doing here today.
Yes.
We want to get you out there.
Yeah.
You are our world champion.
Thank you.
So no, there's no question about it. Because
and I'd love to have local companies as well. I think that's huge, coming from Prince George and being born and raised in Prince George. I'd love to give back too, and.
So we'll make sure that this is widely seen. We're going to boost it into the rest of the province and into Alberta and into Holland, for that matter.
Yeah.
So that's what has to happen.
Yeah, especially since my funding is up in the air. We're just unsure, and so I would love to be able to get some sponsors and be able to continue this journey to the Olympics, really. That's what it is, and I would love to go and...
So give me an example. So now for people that contemplating sitting out there, we have a lot of people watching us, like a program like this, well, probably 100, 150,000 at some point, if not more, in some cases 200 and 300,000.
Yeah.
So what would that look like in terms of funding? Would there be a structure around it? What are you looking for from individuals, from companies? Are you looking for money, or what would you kind of envision?
It's definitely financially to help me to be able to reach the Olympics, but I would also love to give back to those companies, showing, when I'm home in town for my off season, I'd love to visit them and go out for lunch or dinner with them, and just talk to the companies and have it more of a dialogue and a friendship too with them.
Right.
I would really like, yeah.
So and how can people that maybe you haven't given as much thought to that, but if they wanted to say, okay, so they have to help you to get to the Olympics would be one goal, right?
Yeah.
And so what would you be looking for from a company, if company X here is saying, we want to help her, so how do we contact either you or who is collecting the money and those kind of things?
Yeah, it would be me personally.
Okay.
Yeah, they could definitely get in contact with me, and then I would have those conversations with them. Yeah. Okay.
So I'll talk to my people about it in terms of how to contact you.
Yeah,
I don't want to give you a phone number right
now.
I don't want to do that, and unless you want to.
We could put my email out there, I feel like, and they could reach out.
Okay, so what is your email?
It's Hiller, so my last name, Hiller.
Right.
Then my first name, Carolina, Carolina.
Okay.
@gmail.com.
At gmail.com?
Gmail. Yeah.
Okay, and we'll repeat that once more at the end of our set, just to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, and then then from there, and then the objective obviously in 2026.
2026.
Is
yeah.
in to get you there to the Olympics.
To the Olympics, yeah.
And then, and in the meantime, to be helpful. What would be helpful to you if you said, if I could bring a number of people together that would allow me to raise X amount of dollars per year would be helpful? Is that difficult to put a number around that? Or?
So what we have is, another way that to help the companies is the skin suits that we wear, we're able to wear sponsors on our skin suits, so we can like show who the companies are that are sponsoring us.
Oh, I like that.
And the limit for that per year is 5,000.
Okay.
So we need to. So
is
that's,
that then directly? So if we said, okay, we want to do that, then that would be directly for you. Then that sponsorship from that company.
Yeah. So it'd be directly to me. And that's just the.
Do you already have some?
I don't yet. No.
Okay.
No, I don't yet. And
and then it becomes a question. Okay, where does it go, on the arm or on the back?
Yeah, we usually have them right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put them at the top of our suits.
Yeah.
And so that when we're skating, you can kind of still see them.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
And that's just what Speed Skate Canada has decided, that the minimum price is 5,000 if our sponsors would like to have their name on our suit.
I like that, because now we know a number, right? So and that will be, and if somebody said, yeah, that's what they want to do, then that would go. And if somebody said, okay, next month starting, they would do that. Is that for a year then, or the 5,000?
Yeah, so the 5,000 would be for a year. Yeah. And so I'm also looking if companies would like to do like a 3-year kind of contract of some sort to support me all the way to the Olympics, or if they would just like to start with 1 year.
Do we know what that would involve? Or?
No, not necessarily quite yet. It could be 5,000 a year if they would like. It could be even something like helping me afford new equipment, because we always need new blades or new something for speed skating. Or since I'm deciding to stay with the program at the Oval, I have to pay to be in that program, and that's almost $6,000 a year. So if you'd like to help me pay for that program, that would be super helpful too. Lots of options.
So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we're going to stay in contact with you. We're going to help in one way or the other. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but we're going to talk to you.
That'd be incredible.
We encourage other people, not only here in Prince George or in the region, but in BC, to have somebody at your level is unique in speed skating, and the same in Alberta. And so we will, urge that people do that, and then the Brink group of companies is going to talk to you, in the next couple of days in terms of
awesome.
what we would like to do. I already gave you skates, so
I know.
No, I'm just
what else
joking.
can you give me? These are incredible.
No, I'm just joking.
These are priceless.
I don't want you to use those to skate on. No, I'm just joking. Okay. So the now the other thing that that I'm going to do is that what I did is, if you read my books, I saw my books.
I would love to read your books.
Yeah. So what I did is obviously I came here in July of 1965. I didn't have nothing. I had a dream, and I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. I thought I had failed in Holland, and the reason for it was actually related to ADHD. I didn't know I had ADHD until I was 57 years old. Yeah. When I, by coincidence, picked up a book here on 4th Avenue, and I don't know why I did that. I opened the book and I looked in it, and it talked about ADHD, and I said, "Oh my God, that is me." And I wrote in Dutch in it, "I now finally know who I am." Wow. Because I was ashamed of it. And and it kind of explains I was not very academically successful in Holland. I failed grade 3, and I failed grade 7 3 times. Yeah. And then he said, "Well, do we send him to a mentally challenged school, or do we get him a job?" So fortunately, he got me a job as a furniture maker, which helped me here when I started my business. Yeah. But then the other part about it is that also because of being involved in the war years, I was affected by PTSD.
Right.
And then my mom had 3 kids, and my dad was missing during the Second World War. They didn't know if he was dead or alive until after the war when he came back.
Wow.
And so that affected me in terms of the inner child, as they call it, the fear of losing a parent. And you know, and then my experience here in terms of coming here, then you know, then building a company and all the things around it.
Yeah.
I always felt I had to write about it. So this book, in fact, is it took me 80 years to live it, 20 years to think about it, 2 years to write it. And it's not about how successful John is.
Yeah.
It's about, in spite of it all, you know, with all the challenges, you know.
I really love that.
Yeah. Staying the course,
yeah,
you know, is the most important.
And for you to say that you wanted to prove it to yourself, that's what I've been saying all year to myself after being kicked off the team and not being invited back to the program.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I'm done. Maybe I have reached my potential. If that is, so be it. But I was like, let me give myself 1 more year.
Yeah.
Let me prove to myself
Good for you.
that I can do it. Not for anyone else, but just for me.
You. Never give up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and so to me that was important, and that's why I say here, attitude, passion, work ethic.
Yep.
And then, you know, so then the other thing that made a difference in my life, more so than anything else, is that, again, by pure coincidence, is that I was not a very good communicator, and anytime there were more than 3 people around, I had difficulty communicating or having the confidence to do that.
Yeah.
And part of that was ADHD, and then kind of feeling I had failed in Holland, because in Holland, if you wanted a career or maybe have a family and you want to get a job, they say, where are your diplomas? Well, I had no diplomas.
Yeah.
So then I had to prove for myself that I could do it.
Exactly.
And so came down here, and then, you know, then kind of build it up right from the bottom up. And then the other part was the communication thing. And by pure coincidence, my ex-sister-in-law actually dragged me down to when I was in 1990. You know, then I was already 50 years old, to Toastmasters. And I don't know if you heard about Toastmasters.
No.
Very interesting. If you have time, Google it.
Yeah.
I think you're a good communicator. I'm not. But so with me, I was a basket case. So, and I said, okay, but there's about 6 or 7 clubs here. There's probably in the world right now, probably 380 to 400,000 active Toastmasters being in club formations right around the world.
Okay.
And probably 3 million at least that are ex-Toastmasters. They have different levels. I was in Toastmasters for 10 years, reached the highest level that you can, become a distinguished Toastmaster, and less than 0.5% of them go that far to that level. To me, it was important to get to that, and that has served me very well. And now, you know, I'm a professional speaker, speak on all kinds of different settings, and one of the things that you may find interesting is that talking about May the 5th, which is so important in Holland, remembering, is that the week of the 11th, I usually speak at least 4 schools here about why the 2 minutes of silence.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I've done that for about 10 years. And like this year, I was in Surrey, did 2 schools there, rushed back to Prince George, did 2 schools here. But to me, it is very, very important.
That's so important. Yeah, I agree.
And in any event, then so that's in combination with all of that. So then I knew, amazingly with grade 7, I'm a very good writer. Isn't that amazing? And I'm very good with numbers, you know, but, you know, I was not very good. Now we know more about ADHD and the attention issues around it is that I call it a superpower. I could not have done what I did, you know, unless it wasn't for ADHD. And more now what I see is, you know, people coming out and saying, yeah, I have ADHD, or I have it in my family.
Yeah.
So I'm saying to a lot of people that, you know, even with ADHD, this book is very popular actually internationally. I did the audio on this one as well.
Oh yeah.
On both books.
Awesome.
And you know, this one is written in such a way that you can virtually open it anywhere and then read and then start over elsewhere. But it explains ADHD and it explains you know, the superpower and the potential of ADHD, the benefits that there are available. For a lot of people are struggling with it, as I did, and thinking that it would be a mental disorder of some sort. Well, it isn't.
No.
You know, and so for me it was important to get that message out, and you know, and at least to a certain extent it has done that to
wow, yeah, I would love to read those books.
so I'm going to get you that. And then I'm writing another one that's coming out in July, and that again falls into your category. It's about finding your passion, living the dream. And that applies to all those things that you were talking about. Today, just before we did our, you know, our podcast today, I was doing, you know, the audio. I got 2 more days to go to complete the audio. It will be out in July. I make sure you get a copy of that too.
Yeah.
You know, so the.
That's so great. That's so important too, finding your passion. I feel like that's what's kept me in skating this long. There's been highs and there's been a lot of lows of not skating the times that I want or being disappointed in my results, but the love for the sport and like the passion I've had for speed skating has always been there. So that's always what's carried me along. And
but the other thing, it makes you stronger. If it were all easy, you have to go fall down, be disappointed, start over again. That's, as you were saying, is and then staying the course.
Exactly.
You know?
Not quitting when it just gets hard, right? Like continuing on, and it makes it so worth it. Like having the year that I've had, like looking back, every single one of those failures or not getting the time I wanted or whatever it may be made it worth it, right?
And it will affect the rest of your career going forward, whatever that may be. But
for sure.
You know, and it will make you, again, these years that have been behind you now will become the foundation for where you will be as you go forward. That's what I feel like.
100%.
I look back to when, you know, as a young boy, I was only 14 and I had to go to work in a furniture factory. They couldn't even find me coveralls that were long enough. Other than they found some on a Sunday. My dad had to go to his friend had a store and to find me coveralls. At 14, I was small for my age, so they had to roll them up here, 3 pairs of it. The crotch was hanging here. It's smaller now, but it wasn't then. And that, you know, but if I look back, there's all the things that have happened here, and even now running lumber mills, one here, one in Vancouver, one in Houston, and doing all the other things. All that was extremely valuable experience that I still use now every day. No question about that.
And then now, because inevitably there's still setbacks that'll be in my future, and I'll still like won't get the time that I want, but I've learned so much from when I failed in the past that I'm ready for those. Like I'm ready to already overcome them. I know what I need to do. I know how to deal with it. And so I learned so much in those
and
years.
that gave you the foundation, right? You know, that you can do it. Everything is possible. Never ever give up, right?
For sure.
You know, so the so as you now look forward and going to Calgary, the next goal is to go get to the Olympics. The next one is, you know, you have a website?
I'm going to start creating a website.
Because that is now important as well. Because, you know, we want to make sure that all those people that are watching us, including in Holland, you know, we got a lot of international people watching.
Definitely.
You know, we got the world champion here, guys, Dutch people, you know, we beat you guys. You know? So, in good spirit, you know, so, but, you know, all of that is important, that you have a good website,
Definitely.
good communications,
Yep.
and then working on having peace of mind in terms of funding and having that sponsorship there, because if people want to sponsor anybody, in particular somebody like you, a world champion speed skating, it's really amazing,
Yeah, and I'd be super grateful if they'd like to follow me along and be a part of this journey with me. And yeah.
The key is the website.
The website, yep.
Yeah, and to
Definitely.
get it, and then to kind of staying in touch.
Yep.
Anything else that you can think of that you want to?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, so I'm going to sign these books for you. And how should I sign them? As to?
You can do my full name.
Carolina.
Sure.
Excellent, Caroline.
Thank you.
So, but how do you like to be called? Carolina or?
You can just say Lina. Lina's
Lina?
good.
Yeah. So we'll stay in touch.
Definitely.
Do your website, and then we'll
Definitely.
be in touch with you in terms of what we like to do.
Yeah.
And it was a delight to have you as our guest. And then we keep watching you. We'll bring you back.
Yeah, whenever
again.
I'm in town, I'll reach out.
Yeah, and stay in touch with you.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lina.
Thank you for having
I'll
me.
give you a big hug, but
Yeah.
we are hooked up right now.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll do that later.
After.
Thanks for being my guest.
Thank you so much.